Silver's Rayleigh, also known as the Dark King, is an extremely powerful and famous retired pirate who formerly served as the first mate of the legendary Roger Pirates, being known as the right hand of the Pirate King. Rayleigh is one of the major figures, along with Whitebeard, Shiki, Monkey D. Garp, Sengoku, and Kong from the times when the Pirate King was alive. After the disbandment of the Roger Pirates and the execution of Gall D. Roger, Rayleigh became a coding mechanic at the Sabaody Archipelago. Also, at some point after this, he became the husband of Shaki and befriended Hat-chan. He is an ally of the Straw Hat Pirates during the Sabaody Archipelago Arc and served as Monkey D. Luffy's mentor in the use of haki during the 2-year time skip. But before we continue the story, please smash that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe and click notification bell, or you will miss future anime videos. 78 years ago, Silver's Rayleigh was born. During his youth, Rayleigh stole a ship due to his house burning down and needing a place to live. Sometime after that, he met Gall D. Roger, who was impressed by the ship. Roger said that it was a fated meeting and asked Rayleigh to join him. Rayleigh simply laughed at his invitation and declined his offer. Despite his initial refusal, Rayleigh later engaged in piracy and became first mate of the Roger Pirates. 26 years before the start of the story, Roger fell ill from an incurable disease, leading the crew to take one final journey together and ventured into the Grand Line together. In the New World at Ed War, Buggy panicked at the potential conflict between two infamous pirate crews, the Roger Pirates and the Golden Lion Pirates. Rayleigh was present, and he held Buggy back, telling him not to worry. When Roger rejected Shiki's offer to become his right-hand man, Rayleigh prepared for battle along with the other Roger Pirates. A battle between the two crews ensued, and a change in the weather allowed the Roger Pirates to sink half of Shiki's ships. At some point 26 years ago, the Roger Pirates were causing a ruckus on an island. After defeating a group of Marines, they learned that the Whitebeard Pirates docked on the other side of the island. The Roger Pirates were then confronted by Kazuki Oden. Rayleigh and Skopper Gabbin prepared to fight him, but Roger charged in and blew Oden away with a single slash. The Roger Pirates clashed with the Whitebeard Pirates for 3 days. After the battle, the crews formed a truce and exchanged gifts. The Roger Pirates were later joined by Oden and his family, as well as Inuarashi and Nekomamushi. At some point, the Roger Pirates visited Skypiea. After leaving Skypiea, the crew's voyage took them to Water 7, Tequila Wolf, Sabaody Archipelago, and Fisherman Island. Sometime later, they left Hazuki Toki, Momonosuke, Hiyori, Inuarashi, and Nekomamushi at Wano Country. Sometime after the visit to Zou, the Roger Pirates finally reached Laugh-Tale. A year before his death, Roger disbanded the crew in secret. Roger was the first to leave, and the crew tearfully parted ways with him. They later returned Oden to Wano Country, and they bid farewell to him as well. Before he handed himself over to the Marines, Roger told Rayleigh that he would not die. Unwilling to watch the execution of his closest friend, Rayleigh toasted a drink to the man with a laugh as the blaze passed, and downed a glass as his first act in the great age of piracy, the Age of Dreams. Rayleigh stated that he laughed, and cried, and drank, nonetheless upon hearing the message Roger had left the world. Sometime later, Rayleigh was saved by a young Hat-chan from drowning in a shipwreck. Since then, Rayleigh has been on good terms with Hachi. He, along with Shaki and Neon, also helped protect the Gorgon sisters after their escape from slavery from the world nobles. Eventually, Rayleigh became a coding mechanic on Sabaody Archipelago, and at some point married with Shaki. 12 years prior to the series, Rayleigh met his former apprentice Shanks again, and noticed the latter lost his arm and his hat. Rayleigh asked him what occurred as he told him of a boy that he met in the East Blue who had the same passion as his former captain. Intrigued, Rayleigh desired to meet this boy someday. He had been missing for 6 months prior to Luffy's arrival on the archipelago. The following events are non-canon and therefore not considered part of the canon story. The Spade Pirates came across Rayleigh when they needed to have their ship coded in order to reach Fishman Island, with the masked Deuce, and him hitting it off. Rayleigh then coded their ship, with none of the Spade Pirates, except for Skull realizing who he was. Rayleigh let himself be captured to be sold as a slave, and when the mermaid Cammy was brought into the human auctioning house, Rayleigh discreetly used Conqueror Haki to knock out Disco. Although his fellow slave Stanson recognized what he did, as an auction took place, Rayleigh broke out of his cell and stole the money that people had bid for their slaves before making his way to the auction stage. There, he saw Hat Chan and ascertained that he and his allies, the Straw Hat Pirates, had attacked a world noble to save Cammy. Rayleigh then unleashed Conqueror Haki, knocking out most of the people in the auction hall, and he recognized Monkey D. Luffy, saying he had wanted to meet the Straw Hat Captain. Rayleigh then grabbed Cammy's exploding collar and ripped it off, tossing it aside before it could explode. He surveyed the room and saw that the Kid Pirates and Heart Pirates, along with the Straw Hats, had survived his hockey blast, and he then turned his attention to Hat Chan, thanking the Straw Hats for protecting him. The pirates then headed out of the auction hall, and Rayleigh told the Straw Hats to meet him at Grove 13 later. After the three pirate crews had fought through the Marines laying siege to the auction house, Rayleigh was able to run off with Hat Chan. Rayleigh and the Straw Hats made it to Shaki's ripoff bar with Hat Chan, Cammy, and Papik, and Rayleigh revealed to Luffy who he was and how he knew Hat Chan. He then revealed to the Straw Hats what had really happened to Roger, and they talked about Crocus and Shanks. Nico Robin then asked Rayleigh about the Void Century and Roger's writing on the poneglyph in Skypia, but opted to continue researching for herself after Rayleigh warned about how she might use the information. Usopp then asked if the One Piece existed, but was stopped by Luffy, who wanted to discover the One Piece for himself. Rayleigh asked Luffy if he really intended to conquer the New World, as Luffy states he will become the freest man on the sea if he is Pirate King. Rayleigh was impressed by his ideology, seeing the similarities to Roger like Shanks saw. Rayleigh then went to coat the Straw Hats' ship, not charging them anything in return for them helping Hat Chan, and gave them his Viva card, telling them to find him in 3 days. A short time later, Marine Admiral Kizaru came and attacked the Straw Hats, but before he could kill Rorano Azoro, Rayleigh came in and intercepted him. Rayleigh tried to see if Kizaru would leave the Straw Hats alone, but Kizaru would not abandon his mission. The Straw Hats immediately started running away, and Kizaru attempted to go after them, but Rayleigh stopped him with a sword. As Rayleigh sparred with Kizaru, he witnessed Warlord of the Sea Bartholomew Kuma joining some pacifists who were attacking the Straw Hats, and saw as Kuma made the Straw Hats disappear. Kuma then went to Rayleigh and revealed that he was an officer of the Revolutionary Army, and was acting to help the Straw Hats escape. Rayleigh watched as Kuma then transported the remaining Straw Hats off the island. While Whitebeard's death was aired at Sabaody, Rayleigh, who had escaped Kizaru's arrest, watched from afar while drinking. He remarked that Whitebeard was finally dead with a smile on his face and tears in his eyes. After the summoned War of Marineford, Rayleigh set off on a ship to Amazon Lily. However, before he could even reach the calm belt, his ship sank in a storm and thus forced him to swim the rest of the way to the island. He killed several sea kings when he was getting closer to the shore of the island, something which surprised and almost frightened the Heart Pirates who were watching from the shore. When he got to the shore, he remembered Trafalgar Law from the Sabaody Archipelago and told them he thought Luffy was on the island. He saw Luffy and Jinbei coming toward him. When Luffy asked about his crew, Rayleigh said he doubted they were all back yet. After telling Luffy that Law said to take it easy for another 2 weeks, he proceeded to greet Neon, Boa Hancock, and her sisters, whom he had met 13 years ago. He had protected them when they had escaped from the Celestial Dragons. Elder Neon is an old friend of his, and Rayleigh passed on a message from Shaki. He reassured them that the Marines would not even think to look for Luffy on Amazon Lily, and that he was completely safe there. Rayleigh recalled what Kuma whispered to him back on the archipelago. He explained that Kuma told him the general direction in which he sent Luffy, which happened to lead right to Amazon Lily. After going back through the events of the war with Shaki, she was able to surmise, correctly on all 3 accounts, that Boa Hancock was hiding Luffy on her home island, that she was doing so out of love for Luffy, and also as a means of hiding him from the Marines. Rayleigh commented that a woman's intuition was a truly frightening thing. He said he would get to the main reason he came to find Luffy. Rayleigh asked him if he wanted to return to Sabaody, and Luffy replied yes. Rayleigh reminded him of what happened there before, saying that gathering his crew there again would lead to the same result as before. He started to propose an idea he has to Luffy, giving him the choice of rejecting it if he so chooses. He infiltrated Marineford with Luffy and Jinbei, and took part in stealing a marine ship and circling Marineford once with it. he was seen on the Kuja pirate's ship with 2 Kuja pirates pulling on his cheek. He told Luffy that his crew most likely got the meaning of his message, due to his abnormal nature, and said that he had a hunch that the others would understand the message. He and Luffy went to Rusakana for special training. Rayleigh told Hancock that none of the Kujas are allowed on the island during the training, and that if she was worried, then she should pray for Luffy. Once the Kuja pirates left, Rayleigh began Luffy's training by mentioning that the island was once inhabited, but the chaotic climate changes and the ferocious nature of the wildlife eventually killed all the natives. As a wild elephant came charging at them, Rayleigh explained the basic concepts of haki, using the elephant as a demonstration for them. Rayleigh told Luffy that there are 3 kinds of haki: observation haki, armament haki, and conqueror haki. He used observation haki to dodge the elephant's attack, and used armament haki to repel the elephant. When Luffy started to understand haki, Rayleigh subdued the elephant using the conqueror haki. The two began training on the island. Luffy realized that he had seen these techniques before in some form or another during his adventures. Rayleigh hoped to use those 2 years to teach him the basics of controlling the different types of haki, as it would take longer with a normal person. During Luffy's training, he developed Gear 4. Luffy asked Rayleigh on how to improve his attack power, and Rayleigh warned him about the consequences of using this technique. While teaching observation haki to Luffy, he challenged Luffy to dodge 100 times while blindfolded, or he would not be allowed to eat. When Luffy was attacking blindly, he accidentally hit Rayleigh's dinner, causing him to hit Luffy out of anger and annoyance as Luffy sensed his emotions. During a later conversation, Rayleigh remarked on how Luffy was proficient in sensing the feelings of living things. He also mentioned that there are people who can see a glimpse into the future with observation haki, and asked Luffy what would he do if he met one of these people. After teaching Luffy the basics of haki, Rayleigh informed him that haki can grow stronger when facing stronger foes. Rayleigh returned to Sabaody Archipelago half a year before Luffy. In Shaki's bar, he commented on how strong the Straw Hat Pirates had become. He also finished coding the Thousand Sunny. Rayleigh met Nami, Robin, Frankie, Chopper, and Usopp on the Thousand Sunny. He informed them that Luffy had arrived on the island and is about to teach Nami on how to operate a coded ship. He told her to move the ship to Grove 42 and to wait until everyone assembled, saying it was finally time to restart. Rayleigh went to Grove 46 to check up on Luffy. He also commented on how Luffy strengthened his haki. After Luffy had declared that he would be the Pirate King, Rayleigh was shown smiling with tears in his eyes. As the Marines began their pursuit, Rayleigh drew a line on the ground with his sword and warned the Marines not to cross it, declaring that Luffy is his student. By doing so, he bought some extra time for the Straw Hat Pirates to escape to Fishman Island. Once the Straw Hats left, he revealed in a conversation with Shaki that a previous owner of Luffy's straw hat was in fact Roger. After reminiscing about the day he first met Roger, Rayleigh started tearing up and commented that Luffy is a man worthy of that hat. Rayleigh added that it is not a bad idea to live a little longer. While reading the news of the Straw Hats' new bounties after the events at Dressrosa, Rayleigh was seen gambling.